So let's talk about escrow and what escrow actually is when buying or selling a home. Many people have heard this term thrown around before, but you may not actually understand what it means. So let's break it down in this video for you. I originally started on the escrow side of the industry, so I have a very unique perspective of what the escrow process looks like from the behind the scenes. I worked with some of the top escrow officers in North County, San Diego, so I want to share a little bit about this knowledge here with you today. So what exactly is escrow? Escrow is the neutral third party in a real estate transaction that holds the documents and money until conditions are met to disperse to both sides. Now, escrow is typically a 30-day process, but this will vary based on the contract. One thing also to note here is I'm speaking specifically to Southern California. Some other areas and outside states do work hand in hand together with title companies, and escrow is not necessarily on its own entity. So let's break the escrow process down into 7 simple steps for you. Step 1 is the initial agreement. This is where the buyer side and the seller side come together with a purchase contract. This spells out the purchase price, contingencies, and any other terms within the agreement. Step number 2 is opening escrow. Now, escrow is not typically opened until the earnest money deposit is received. This is typically 1 to 3% of the purchase price, and that is typically wired to the title or escrow company. One hot tip to take here, make sure to always pick up the phone and verify wire instructions before wiring any money. Step number 3 are the inspections and appraisals. This is the investigation period where any of the home inspections, termite inspections, appraisals, these are all ordered and taken care of during this time. Once those contingencies are removed, the buyer is committing to the close of escrow. If there is any solar on the home, which is very typical here in California, this is also when the solar transfer lease would be initiated. Step number 4 is the loan approval. If the buyer is getting financing on the purchase of their home, they will be going through the lender approval process. And this is where additional documents may be required throughout the transaction, so it's very important for the buyer to be able to provide those documents promptly in order to keep the timeline on track. Step number 5 is closing documents. A few days prior to the close of escrow, the buyers will sign any of their loan docs in person, typically with a notary, either at the escrow office or they can send a notary to you in person, whether it be at your own home or maybe a common ground, say such as a coffee shop. So once those closing documents are complete, that will queue up the closing department. Step number 6, which is one step closer to the close of your home, is the final funds transfer. Now, this is after every T is crossed and every I is dotted. The escrow team will reach out for you to wire your final closing funds. Now, as I mentioned before, always make sure to verify anything before wiring any funds to prevent wire fraud. Now, the best for last is step number 7, closing day. This is when the escrow officer distributes the funds appropriately and records the title deed. So now, whether you're the buyer, you have the keys to your brand new home, and if you're the seller, you have the proceeds from the sale of your home. It's a great day for all, and it's time to celebrate. Now, my last hot tip for this video is the importance of a strong escrow team and escrow officer. So if you have any questions on that whatsoever, make sure to reach out to make sure you are in great hands on your real estate transaction. And if you're ready to get started with that today, make sure to give me a call as well. I'd be happy to connect with you. Also, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.